Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant and ambitious student, found his calling in the arcane sciences at Ingolstadt University. Haunted by the mystery of life and death, he delved into forbidden knowledge, neglecting his family and former studies. To give life where there was none, to reanimate clay, the ultimate triumph over death. He spent months in isolation, dissecting cadavers, piecing together limbs and organs, a grotesque mosaic of human remains. The foul stench of the charnel house clung to him, his once healthy complexion now gaunt and pale. The obsession consumed him, driving him towards a terrifying revelation. He worked tirelessly, driven by a feverish dream, his hands stained with the gruesome labor, his mind alight with impious ambition. He assembled his creature from grave and dissecting room, a monstrous patchwork of human parts. Finally, on a dismal November night, after endless toil, the moment arrived. Rain lashed against his laboratory window, and the chilling wind howled like a bystander. Victor stood over his creation, a colossal figure nearly 8 feet tall, its yellowish skin stretched taut over its muscular frame, its watery eyes barely visible within their dark sockets. It is complete, after so many months, so much sacrifice. He activated his grotesque apparatus, a jolt of electricity surging through the lifeless form. The creature's eyes slowly opened, its chest heaved, and a guttural groan escaped its lips. "No! It lives! By God, it lives!" The sight of his animated creation, with its grotesque features and terrifying strength, filled him with an immediate, profound revulsion. The beauty he had envisioned was a hideous mockery. He fled his laboratory, leaving the newly awakened being alone in the cold, rain-swept room, a monument to his scientific hubris. The creature, abandoned and alone, wandered through the foreign world, its massive form inspiring terror and disgust in every human it encountered. Driven by instinct, it sought refuge from the cold and the cruelty of humanity. The world was a canvas of pain for the newly born. Rejected, beaten and hunted, the creature, though possessing an innocent heart, was quickly taught the bitter lessons of prejudice. One day, it stumbled upon a humble cottage inhabited by the blind old man de Lacy, his son Felix, and daughter Agatha. From a hidden hovel, the creature observed them, learning their language, their kindness, and the simple joys of their lives. It felt an aching yearning for connection, for the warmth of their acceptance. Love, family, so beautiful. Why do they flee from me? It gathered wood for them, cleared snow, performing secret acts of kindness, hoping to earn their favor. The creature imagined a life where it could finally be loved, could finally belong. If only they could see my soul, not this wretched form. Finally, the creature mustered its courage and approached the blind de Lacy, believing his lack of sight would allow him to see beyond its hideous exterior. "Who is there? Speak, friend. You seem troubled." "I am a traveler, unhappy, seeking compassion." Their conversation was brief, filled with the creature's desperate pleas for understanding. But then Felix and Agatha returned. "Monster! Get away from my father!" A demon! A fiend!" Felix beat the creature with a stick, driving it out into the harsh wilderness. The creature's heart, once filled with tentative hope, shattered into 1,000 pieces. The kindness it had witnessed turned to ashes in its mouth. The rejection solidified its burgeoning hatred for humanity and, most of all, for its creator. Years after its creation, the creature, driven by a mix of despair and a growing thirst for revenge, finally confronted Victor Frankenstein amidst the desolate grandeur of the Swiss Alps. The air was thin and cold, the peaks towering ominously. "Fiend, do you dare approach me, murderer?" I expected this reception, yet hear me. You, my creator, owe me justice, not scorn. The creature, possessing an unexpected eloquence, recounted its tragic existence, its abandonment, its painful journey of self-discovery, and the ceaseless cruelty it had endured from mankind. Its voice, though harsh, carried a profound sadness, a testament to its isolated suffering. "Do not deem me a monster without knowing the torment I have suffered. You brought me into this world, a sentient being, only to cast me into a wilderness of hatred and fear." It spoke of the agony of rejection, the burning desire for companionship, and the despair that had driven it to commit acts of violence. The murder of William, Victor's younger brother, and the frames of Justine Moritz, the family's innocent servant. "I asked for a soul, and you gave me a curse. Give me a companion, a female as hideous and wretched as myself, that I may not be alone in this hateful world. Then, I promise, we shall vanish from humanity forever." Victor listened, initially repulsed, but slowly an unwilling pity began to stir within him. The creature's words, though horrifying in their confession, painted a vivid picture of unbearable loneliness. A female. Another such demon unleashed upon the world. How could I dare? You, my creator, are my only hope. Deny me, and I swear I shall be with you on your wedding night. I shall make your life a living hell until you beg for death. The threat hung heavy in the cold mountain air. Victor, trapped by his own guilt and the creature's grim determination, found himself bound to an agonizing decision. Reluctantly, Victor agreed to the creature's demand, driven by fear for his loved ones and a lingering sense of responsibility. He traveled to a remote island in the Orkneys, a desolate and stormy place, to undertake the horrific task of creating another being. The island was a bleak canvas for a monstrous endeavor. Victor, haunted by his first creation, worked with a heavy heart, each cut and stitch a torment. He began his work, meticulously assembling the female companion, but this time every detail filled him with dread. He imagined the two creatures even more malevolent together, breeding a new race of horrors to plague mankind. What if she rejects him? What if they become a scourge? My original sin multiplied. As he neared completion, the creature often appeared outside his window, watching him with an expectant, hopeful gaze that only intensified Victor's internal conflict. The creature's presence was a constant reminder of his obligation and the terrifying potential consequences. One evening, as the almost finished female lay on his dissecting table, Victor's resolve broke. He stared at the lifeless form, imagining the future. "No! I cannot condemn the world to such a fate. It is a crime against humanity." With a furious cry, he tore the half-formed body to pieces, destroying his work, scattering the grotesque remnants across the laboratory floor. The creature, witnessing this act from outside the window, let out a howl of pure, unadulterated rage and despair. "You have broken your promise. You have sealed your own doom, Frankenstein. I will be with you on your wedding night." The creature vanished into the storm, its threat echoing in Victor's ears. Victor packed his tools, gathered the remains of the second creature, and rowed out into the tempestuous sea to dispose of them, leaving behind the shattered fragments of his latest monstrous creation and an inescapable curse. Victor, exhausted and filled with a dread premonition, returned to Ireland, where he was immediately arrested. The body of his friend, Henry Clerval, lay on the shore, bearing the unmistakable marks of the creature's savage hands. Victor's anguish was profound. He knew he was responsible. "Henry, my dear friend, another innocent life destroyed by my monstrous folly." Though eventually acquitted, Victor's spirit was broken. His father, Alphonse, urged him to marry Elizabeth Lavenza, his beloved fiancée, believing happiness might heal him. Victor, however, remembered the creature's chilling vow. "I will be with you on your wedding night." He married Elizabeth, hoping to lure the creature and confront it once and for all. On their wedding night, in an isolated cottage on the shores of Lake Como, Victor, armed with pistols, nervously patrolled the house, awaiting the creature's arrival. "Victor, darling, why are you so restless?" "Just ensuring our safety, my love. Go to sleep." A sudden, blood-curdling scream tore through the night from their bedroom. Victor rushed in to find Elizabeth's lifeless body sprawled across the bed, her throat brutally clasped by the creature's hand. He saw the creature's hideous, grinning face at the window before it vanished into the darkness, its cruel triumph unmistakable. "Elizabeth! No! My beautiful Elizabeth!" This final, devastating act shattered Victor. His father, Alphonse, hearing of Elizabeth's death, died of grief shortly after. With nothing left to live for but revenge, Victor swore to pursue his creation until one of them was destroyed. He dedicated his life to this singular, consuming quest. Victor's pursuit led him across continents, always one step behind the elusive creature, until both were drawn to the desolate, icy expanse of the Arctic. Victor, driven by a consuming fever of vengeance, pushed his body and mind to their limits, his health failing rapidly. The Arctic became the final stage for their tragic ballet, a desolate theater of ice and despair, where man and monster were bound by a shared curse. Near death, Victor was rescued by Captain Robert Walton, an explorer on an expedition to the North Pole. On board Walton's ship, Victor recounted his harrowing tale, a warning against unchecked ambition. "Beware, Walton, of knowledge that turns to poison. My ambition, it birthed a fiend and destroyed all I loved." He begged Walton to continue his hunt, to destroy the creature if he should fail. Soon after, Victor Frankenstein succumbed to his illness, his last breath a desperate whisper of his monstrous creation. He is gone, a life consumed by a terrible pursuit. Moments after Victor's death, a dark shadow fell over the cabin. The creature, drawn by some unknown impulse, appeared before Victor's lifeless body, its massive form weeping in profound sorrow and remorse. "Oh, Frankenstein, my creator, my enemy, and my only tie to existence. Did you believe I found joy in this carnage? No, I am a wretch, utterly alone." It expressed its profound regret for the suffering it had caused, acknowledging its own monstrousness, a direct result of its creator's abandonment and humanity's relentless cruelty. "My crimes, born of isolation and rejection, have brought me only deeper misery. Now that you, my last link, are gone, what is left for me?" With a final, heart-wrenching lament, the creature promised to journey to the northernmost ice, where it would build a funeral pyre for itself, finally finding peace in self-annihilation. As it vanished into the swirling Arctic mist, Walton and his crew were left to ponder the profound tragedy of a brilliant mind and a tormented creation.